Republicans are systematically and deliberately trying to stop millions of American citizens from voting. What part of democracy are they afraid of? I believe every citizen has the right to vote.
Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton slamming the Republicans, claiming there's a war on voting. But according to our next guest, Democrats may be the ones waging that war. Joining us now, director of the Voter Integrity Project, Jay Delancy. He's Skyping in from Raleigh, North Carolina. Jay, thanks for spending some time with us on Newsmax Prime.
Thank you, JD. Thank you for having me.
Now, as I understand it, after several debates and a lawsuit set to go to trial this summer, state lawmakers in North Carolina gutted some key guidelines for voter ID requirements. What changed and what impact will it have in 2016?
Well, apparently the DMV had been not issuing the free ID cards very freely, and they were hassling people. And that rose to the evidence. People saw that and realized we're going to lose this lawsuit over that. So they rushed through some emergency legislation to show that anyone who has trouble getting an ID or reasonable impediment, say if you're sick for the last 2 years and couldn't go to get your ID, or if you were or if you lost your license the day before the voting, and maybe you just lost your wallet or someone stole it. So some of them are reasonable, some are not, but they created all these exceptions. And basically what they've done, they've created a loophole so wide that we go back to the old law that anybody can now vote without a photo ID in North Carolina just by claiming the need for a reasonable impediment.
So the laws have been gutted. And as I understand it, George Soros has been backing efforts to attack laws. There have been a whole spate of ads on television in North Carolina. Is North Carolina the test case, in your opinion, for the rest of the country?
Well, no doubt that North Carolina had a tremendously effective voter ID law, to the point where the left was genuinely worried that they were going to not be able to commit the kind of fraud they like to have in their arsenal if needed. And so Soros, a paid group called Democracy NC, they were all over the state training people to speak at these public forums, and they rattled the cages at every one of these with massive numbers, all saying the same message, slamming voter ID. Even though it's settled law, they put all that pressure to the point where the politicians actually credited the public feedback they got as the reason they made this adjustment. And really what that was it was AstroTurf, paid for by really George Soros and an organization in North Carolina that's kind of the Soros equivalent called Z. Smith Reynolds. And they fund every left-wing organization doing the same kind of work that Soros does. So yeah, it's these laws meant a lot to the left. They really wanted to gut them. And as it stands right now, they've succeeded. But
final 30 seconds. Let me ask you this. You're a straight shooting guy. You talked about the big money from Soros and the left, but was it conservative cowardice that resulted in this knuckling under?
No, I think what resulted on it, at one point we thought that, but really what did it was, I think they were moles. There were people at the Division of Motor Vehicles that were hassling people going in for their free voter ID card. And they were giving them so much trouble. And one of them was even a sitting senator's mother. So there were people at DMV need to be held accountable for this, because they sabotaged this law, in my view.
Well, we know you'll continue to follow it there at the Voter Integrity Project. Jay Delancy, we appreciate your time. Thanks for Skyping in from Raleigh. Now, you heard what Jay had to say. We want to get your comments. You can send them to us via email, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also send us your comments at newsmaxtv.com/comments, because we very much want to hear from you. A reminder is in order. Once again, I will be filling in tomorrow afternoon on Newsmax Now. That starts at noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. in the Pacific time zone, and then back here for Newsmax Prime at our usual time tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We hope you'll join us then. Thanks so much for your time on this Monday night. And now, for those you see and those you don't, J.D. Hayworth, until tomorrow, stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.